DK.
Okay.
Donkey
Kong.
Woo! DK. Donkey Kong
is here.
Yeah, that doesn't really work with the Skype delay, but...
Skype delay, it's gonna be like...
And it's weird, because like the Skype delay is like 1 second, so it's like... DK, Donkey Kong.
DKKK.
Yeah.
Oh, not the KKK, though. That's different.
snoCast!
Hey! Welcome, everybody, to another snoCast. This is a very special one. It's the very first ever 4-man snoCast. Say, what up, everybody. Introduce yourself. Oh, all at the same time.
Okay.
Said, what up, everybody?
we need a little more order here. Let's start at the top. Mr. VZed, say hello.
Hi, I'm VZed.
Okay.
You can call me VZed, and I do a show called I Like to Video Games on YouTube. There's a link somewhere here, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put some video in the middle here, like over DK while we're talking.
Okay, cool.
You do I Like to Video Games. Anything? What else do you do, VZ? And I'll probably call you VZ more than I call you VZed.
VZed!
That's not my name.
I'm American.
That's not my name.
We're American from the left.
Do you guys
So
not
we're gonna call
pronounce
it
D's in your
VZ.
country?
Do we call
Do
what?
you guys not pronounce D's in your country?
We do, but Z is pronounced Z.
Yeah, it's Z,
Zed?
not Zed.
Zed,
Like some
Zed.
weirdo from sci-fi fantasy.
No, it's all good. I'm just playing.
So we got Perrydactyl down in the bottom, and we have like DjaliGoat down, because apparently we don't pronounce
Jolly.
D's in America.
Yes. No. Go. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh,
Please
I don't know.
tell us
What
about
else?
your channel, VZ.
I make videos about video games. That's pretty much it. Whatever I find interesting, whatever I'm passionate about, I make a video about it. That's pretty much it.
Excellent. We're glad that you're here.
Thank you.
Down in the bottom left, Mr. Perrydactyl himself. Hello.
Yo, what's
up?
up, everybody? I'm Perrydactyl. Similar to VZ, I make videos on video games, but mine are extremely high.
Yes.
So that's my thing.
the master
and
and
I love
himself.
Yeah,
Wait, and you said you love Donkey Kong?
yeah, man.
Oh, you're in
That's
the
what-
wrong cast. This is something else.
What? No.
Yeah, Perry, you can't be here. It's the Kid Icarus cast.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking
Oh,
Kid
thanks for
Icarus.
calling me out on that, Jolly.
We're talking
Jeez.
Kid Icarus for 3 hours straight, and you have joined the wrong cast. I don't know how. Like, you've been cropped into the overlay and everything, but somehow, there was miscommunication there.
If
My
only
bad.
I knew.
My bad.
Oh,
Skype glitch. He bought it-
Skype. I blame Skype.
Skype app just fucks everything up.
Final in the down corner there, Mr. DjaliGoat. Hello and welcome. Yeah, it's like Brady Bunch, like waving down at you.
Brady Bunch,
hi.
Hollywood Squares.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell us about what you do on the YouTube space, sir.
Hi, camera. Well, I also am on YouTube, and I also make videos on video games, and mine are way better than Perry's, so you should just come to my channel and check it out.
Why do you throw me under the bus?
I mean, I'm gonna
I'm
have
just
to agree,
teasing.
though.
I'm teasing.
Just teasing.
Yeah, I have a Nuzlocke video ongoing on my channel, although it's only 3 episodes in. VZed gets to be the narrator, and I do some other pretty cool videos. I just made one. It was a really cool one that it talks about concept ideas for how to use the Wii U tablet in future games. I'm really proud of it. So
That video gets Snowman's thumb of approval.
That would be the video to go check out if you want to click on my channel.
Excellent. Fantastic. The reason we've all gathered together today, and it's more than just one guest on the snoCast, this is the first 4-man snoCast ever, 3 guests and 1 host, is because we all love Donkey Kong so much, and guess what? It's Donkey Kong Month! Oh! By the time this airs, the Good Game Design episode on Donkey Kong will have already been posted. And we're just keeping the train rolling, man. We're keeping the hype going with Donkey Kong Month. And so we're going to talk about Donkey Kong. We are all very much avid fans of the DK series. So to start off, we're going to we'll go in depth and we'll dive into specifics. But to start off, I thought a good way to begin would be why do we love Donkey Kong so much? I think we could all say we do love Donkey Kong. Why is that? Why do you love the Donkey Kong series? And we'll kind of just go around and say why is that? Who wants to go first?
You want to know what first attracted me to the Donkey Kong series?
That'd be a great place to start.
They weren't timed games.
Wait. Jolly, did you say Candy Kong?
I don't know what Jolly said.
He said Candy Kong.
Candy Kong.
Don't lie.
I know that feel, bro. Okay, sorry. It wasn't a timed game like other games.
Yeah. It always pissed me off that Mario was timed, because it was like, no, I want to play around in these levels, but they're just like, no, you got to get to that ending before the timer runs out. But like when I found out Donkey Kong wasn't that, and it was like also like visually rich and like tons of stuff to find and explore, I was just like, hey, what a concept. How about you don't put a timer on the levels? And then so that's what like kept me coming back to it over and over again when I was a kid.
I never really thought of that, but that is very true. Like all the and it still had lives and stuff, but it seemed to deviate a little bit more from that arcade style that a lot of games kept in the beginning there.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
Like you see, like the whole reason that they decided to get rid of the timer, this is just because the way the game's designed, they made all the levels. They wanted you to actually like explore them because they just filled them crock full with secrets instead. So they didn't want to like have you on like a time limit if they wanted you to explore the worlds.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. What about you, Perry? Why do you love Donkey Kong?
Man, I mean, it's a lot of the stuff that the guys already said with like the lack of the time and the exploration. But like as a kid, the first time I saw Donkey Kong being played, I was like, "What are these sick graphics?"
Yeah,
I've
I
never
think that was
seen
for me,
anything
too.
like that.
Yeah,
It's all about the graphics.
And then like I don't know, like as a kid, I guess I was more into animals and being an Italian plumber jumping around. So like that had something to do with it, and like. I don't know, I like a lot of the gameplay elements a lot with animal buddies and stuff, and like there's a sense of like just mystery when you play the game for the first time. You're like, whoa, what is around every corner? And you're like, oh, there's so many cool things to do. It's a great series.
Obviously, we talk about it in the Good Game Design episode, but like how the finding the secrets, and there's just that sensation about there's something that drives you. You want to find all the secrets. You want to find those things. Exploration's a big part of the game. Graphics was a huge one for me too. Graphics, it looked like nothing else at the time.
I'll say that like what I really loved about Donkey Kong Country. Like I always remember the very first time I ever played it. Like it was just so different than any other platform. Like it was at the time like I had played like Super Mario World and like a couple other like obviously Super Mario Bros, some other platformers because there were a lot of platformers on the NES. But like Donkey Kong Country, it's like it kind of just felt a lot more challenging. It was kind of like, oh, this is like a game if you're already good at games, kind of. And like it just had so much more. It felt like it had a lot of personality. Like the one thing I always remember for like Donkey Kong Country 1, I remember I would play and then I got to the level, it's like the Aztec level, and like you got like hamsters and they're running in like giant stone balls, and I'm like, this is like it felt like it's a lot more like cartoony, I guess. It felt like it had a lot more personality than other games. And like even just like from the very second you turn the game on and like the Rareware logo comes, like you have Cranky Kong and he's playing the music box, and then Donkey Kong just comes and he like slams him off the tree and he's like, "What up? He's Donkey Kong," and then he jams out to the music.
Yeah.
Sold. Like it was like it was the game. It was just so much cooler than other games.
It had attitude for sure. Like just from the very beginning.
That was probably my first impression of Donkey Kong.
Yeah. I have a lot of good memories of it. Let's kind of lead in actually, because we're talking about the first game, because I think that's kind of our first impression, obviously, with Donkey Kong. Let's kind of lead into the first game specifically. I think that obviously is kind of what drew us into the series, and things that we liked about it began there. So let's talk about DKC 1. What are we've talked a little bit of things that have stuck out to you. Is there other things that you want to hit on or point out?
Well, I'm just going to say like the theming of the game is really cool, and it's something I didn't really think about until I saw your VZ's video.
Right up there, you got a really good Donkey Kong Country video.
Really good Donkey Kong video, and like you get this feeling of like at the very beginning, it's very like nature focused, And then, like, as you're going towards you trying to find K. Rool, like, he industrialized your island, and it's a very cool theming, because, like, it's like, oh, look, I'm in the jungle, and then later on, it's like, I'm in a factory now. Look at all this that they've ruined. Oh, sorry.
That's all good. You're giving me uses for my DK sound effects to bleep over your words, so don't worry about it.
He actually made us sign a contract before the podcast. We have a swear jar, so Snowman's making bank. So.
Yeah.
He invited his 3 most crude friends on purpose. Decided to make buck.
That's how I roll. I agree, absolutely. Theming. And I didn't really think about it until I did see VZed's video. What were your thoughts on that when you were making that, VZed? Because obviously you made those points. Was that something you noticed when you played it for the first time?
No, actually, not when I played it for the first time. It wasn't until I played it again for that video that I sort of started to put it together in my head. Like, I used to just play video games when I was young. Like, I would just pick up a game, I'd play it, and if I finished it, awesome. If I didn't, whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I started the show and I started watching other analytical YouTube shows where I was just I got to start actually thinking about this stuff. I got to start looking for stuff to talk about, and that's when it sort of clicked. I realized that the game sort of has you going further and further away from home until you're in these deep dark forests with these huge trees in the background, and then you're up on top of a mountain in the middle of a blizzard on jumping across ice caps and stuff like that, and then you're in a factory of all things, which is just super far away from where we started. And that's when I started to realize, wow, I'm nowhere near where I started, right?
Yep.
And then I did point out in the video that it does kind of lose it when you just go into the caves for the last area, because it's just caves. It's
yeah.
Are you scared of the dark?
Yeah,
then
Chimp Caverns, the final area.
Yeah,
it's a cave leading to the beach with the Iron Maiden pirate ship, so...
Just leads out to the pirate ship.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, personally, I think if you had reversed the caves with Kremco Industries would have been a little more powerful, but I think it's still there. Whether or not it was intentional when they were making the game, it's still there, and I think it was still... is what makes it effective, even if you don't realize it's happening.
You definitely feel like you're going away from home. I think that moment for me was Snow Barrel Blast, that level where you're entering that blizzard and it's slowly getting more and more crazy. That level has stuck with me so much because it's just the atmosphere of that level in one particular spot is insane. But
that level
super drives
is
that
crazy.
Yeah,
and that's one of the ones that you can. That's one of the ones that you can cheat through, eh? If you miss one of the barrels, there's a chance you'll hit one of the secret ones that just takes you right to the end of the level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I remember,
that's my favorite thing to do about that level.
Yeah, I think I found that when I was a kid, and I was just kind of I'm never going to be able to recreate that. And then I did it again by accident when I was playing it for the video, and I was just yes, forgot about that.
Yeah, part of the reason I love DKC is things like that, because we do a little joke about it in the Good Game Design where you're just jumping off edges trying to find secrets. Because I used to do that all the time. With my dad, we'd go into a level and then every gap where there was a hole, we would jump down it trying to find a secret. And if it wasn't there, we lost a life. And we tried to find everything that way because there were lots of those where there are barrels off the screen that you just got to jump and find.
Yeah. I kind of love that about the DK games because it's oh, is there a banana right there? I probably should go jump in that hole. Yeah. And sometimes there won't be anything. You're oh, DK, you tricked me this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is cool. A lot of other secrets, you had to or at least, yeah, in Donkey Kong Country 2, I guess you got to throw your partner in other secrets. So you always wanted to have both Kongs just in case.
Oh yeah.
They didn't have that tech in the first game.
Yeah, we'll get to that later when we talk about how DK2 improved everything.
And that's another
one of my things. One of the things I'll add about DKC1 that really didn't apply to me when I was a kid, because I think that Donkey Kong Country as an adult right now is probably one of the coolest games to read about on the internet, because now that you can read about all the cool stuff on the internet, you find out about how Donkey Kong Country started as Project Treehouse, and you learn about how Nintendo was super duper secret, planning out how they 3D rendered all the images so they could have 3D models, but not really on the Super Nintendo. And it was super duper top secret in Nintendo headquarters, and they nicknamed it Project Treehouse, which has gone on to host a bunch of other super duper secret projects. And if you go to Nintendo HQ now, they still have that exact same room, and it's still called Treehouse. And it all started it all started with Donkey Kong Country. And it was like their super duper plan for like, we're going to blow everyone's minds with the Super Nintendo.
I have a lot of memories about it with my dad and mom, and just like that was a game that like as a family we would play it and try to find the secrets. Just little things like I remember in the first minecart level, there's one jump where there's like a little arc of bananas, and we tried to get every banana in that one arc, but we couldn't get it, and we couldn't figure out how to jump at just the right angle, and then we realized you don't jump, you just fall, and it'll catch you down below, and you get all the bananas. And it's little things like that where, like, as a family, we would, I don't know, it drew everybody in. There was something about it that even, like, my mom, who never plays games and hates and gets frustrated at, like, Guitar Hero, she was drawn in and loved it, and, like, we would go to the bouncy, what's it called, the cave level with the bouncy tires all throughout it. And there's one spot in that where there's 3 tires on the roof and 3 tires on the ground, and you can just bounce in them forever, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. We would just sit and do that for like 20 minutes. We would just.
It's really fun though. It's like a so bounce house.
Yeah. We would just sit and do the bounce house thing. Things like that.
Man, like when you're talking about like playing Donkey Kong with your family and stuff, my parents really weren't into video games, but my brother and I would always like play through Donkey Kong together.
Yeah.
And that's something like I'll always like treasure, is just like us figuring out the game together. And that was really, really fun.
Yep.
It's I think like in a design and like kind of a fun way, like playing with someone in a platformer, it can be a little weird, but like I like the way that they did it for the Donkey Kong games, because like it's not like you have to stop like in Super Mario World, you have to stop and then the next person plays. They just pick up exactly where you left off.
Yeah.
See, that was also a big deal, because like I always played video games with my sister, and like Super Mario World, like we'd have to like, you could still choose to play like take turns in Donkey Kong Country, but you could also just like pass it off and like switch Kongs, which is like super cool.
Yep.
And like to build off what you were saying before, like you guys were talking about like the tires and stuff and having fun, like because I always play the game with my sister, so I guess I was playing with my family too. And like Donkey Kong Country was such like, I think it's so impactful because it ended up being such an emotional game. Like you look at like the first level and you like walk into DK's house and like then it was Banana Hard. He's like, oh no, I lost all my bananas.
Yeah!
You feel it with him. You're like,
it's kind of like funny, but then like you get to the next level and then suddenly it's dark and it's raining and the music takes like dramatic change, and the music is gonna like, this is gonna be a recurring theme through the podcast. I feel the music has always been so like emotionally driving. And so, like, it's like, oh my gosh, this took like a really serious turn, and so it kind of like caused me to like play the level more serious. And like, there are a lot of levels in the game that do that. Like, like you go underwater in aquatic ambience, and it's like, it just totally changes the mood. And like, I feel like that affected like me and my sister a lot as we played. Like, we would always like feel different and play differently depending on like what the level was. Like sometimes we would be jumping around, like you guys were talking about the tire thing, like you would be happy-go-lucky, but sometimes like the game would just force you to be serious. And something that always made us like, okay, we gotta buckle down, because it would be a boss fight and we'd be like, this is serious business. And then the boss fight would be like really, really hype, and like I still remember like having like blood rushing and like, oh my gosh, you'd feel so good when you beat it, because like Donkey Kong Country bosses weren't just like regular jump on the enemy like 3 times. Some of them you had to jump on like 9 times. It was like,
you're right about that. Like, it does take a lot of hits. It always takes more than you expect, and it's really hilarious. Because like you're like, oh, I hit him 3 times, let's go, and then it's like, oh, I have to hit him 6 times. What is this mystery game?
Yeah, it felt a lot more epic, and then like the way they would like speed up, like even just jumping on the nollie. I can't remember. It's like the mouse.
Naughty.
The naughty.
Yeah, the beaver.
Yeah,
like, you know, when you jump on him and then suddenly he jumps around the stage really fast, and you're like, oh my god, I don't know if I can take it.
The one that always got me was Big Dumb Drum.
I love
the one that like hurts itself.
Dumb Drum.
Because it took me forever to realize that you don't actually have to hit him.
Yeah.
Like every time he hit the ground, I'd like jump on him, and then I'd like lose a Kong, and it's just like, what am I supposed to do?
Yep.
He's kind of like
Dumb Drum is awesome.
He's kind of like an enemy gauntlet, because you have to fight like every other enemy in the game during his
He's
fight.
my number
He's
one
literally
worst boss in Donkey Kong.
Dude, I actually really like him, because he's literally like what an enemy spawner is, like if you make game development, but he's just the sprite for it, and he's just like, oh, well, let me just shake down some bad guys. I'm like, yeah, this is great!
It's so true.
Yeah,
it's like the game developers themselves. They're dropping more enemies on you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I love it.
It just always felt hilarious watching a drum fly around. Like it's like that's not an animal. How can it do that? It's cheating.
But,
It
like,
really. It's an
In terms of bosses for like the first game, I always felt like that they were really easy for the most part, except for the last boss, who was incredibly hard.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, what do you guys think about King K. Rool as a boss?
King K. Rool sold me on the entire series. I'm not going to even front about that. The first time I played that guy, and I beat him, and then like fake credits rolled, and I was like, all right, I'm done. And he gets up and kills me. I was like, hold on a second. There's a little something special to this game.
Yeah, the fake credits, I'll give you. But I don't think he was all that, like... I mean, for that game, he was, like, big. But, like, I didn't actually get seriously into finishing that game until I had played, like, 2 and a bit of 3. And, like, Captain K. Rool in 2, well, we'll get to that when we get to 2. But, yeah, like, I get what you mean. But I don't think K. Rool is anything all that special right now.
So looking back, it's nothing super special.
For anyone who's confused and hasn't actually played through Donkey Kong Country 1, King K. Rool is like probably one of my favorite bosses in all of video games, and he really like builds off the other boss fights. And like you hit him, and you got to hit him more than 3 times, and then you hit him like 6 times, and like he goes down, and like that's the same amount of hits like the other bosses take to beat. And you're like, I did it! And he's really really hard too because he's got some really wonky patterns. He throws his crown, and you got to jump over it, but sometimes he'll like throw it faster than usual, and he'll catch you by surprise. But you finally beat K. Rool, and then he falls, and the credits start rolling. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I did it. But then the game pulls like a total, like the game trolls you because then King K. Rool gets up during the credits and he like shakes it off and then the fight continues. He like totally is not that you didn't beat him yet. And like, it was so mind blowing because like no other boss that I can ever remember in video games.
I can't think of a boss that did that before.
Yeah.
Like, that was the thing.
And at that point.
Uh-oh.
I lost Jolly.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I lost Jolly too.
We'll never know.
That's okay. What I like
I don't know.
Let me try to finish his thought. So like when you kill him that first time and he comes back and you're like, oh my gosh, what is this guy? And he comes back and then you're like, whoa, I have to fight the boss again and he's harder and faster. So like it becomes a really unique circumstance where it's a marathon of a boss, and it's very unique and frustrating and difficult, but it's so satisfying to beat him like for good. And like it really paves the way for the second game, I think.
I'm just wondering, are we gonna count like bosses with like more than one form or stage in that? I guess we don't have to go off on this tangent, but yeah.
Well, what I liked about the credits rolling is they were fake names. Like when the fake credits rolled,
and everything started with K.
They were K names and they were critters.
Yeah.
And I remember catching that. Like the first time I did it, I was like, "Yeah, the credits," and then I was like, "Wait, what? Like critter cat? What? Who is that? That's not a real name. Wait a minute."
I was too dumb when that happened, and I was just like, "Okay, cool, I beat the game, yeah." And
they named
back.
Hello, characters
Jolly.
after the staff members. Clearly,
I think my audio is not coming through my headphones now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's horrible.
Talk.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
You should probably cut this out.
No,
Technical difficulties.
I can't hear anyone. I don't even know if
we
they can
got
hear me.
Technical. That's all right.
And-
oh, he's gone.
Oh, hi, Jolly.
I'll edit what seems appropriate. But yes, as a final boss at the time, I agree. It was amazing. I do agree. Looking back, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's we've seen better bosses since then, but at the time,
for sure.
Fantastic boss for sure. Good. Well, if there's anything else to add, we could move on to DKC 2. But
well, I did want to say that.
Oh, okay, Jolly.
Is Jolly here-ish?
His video's out, but his audio's coming through. I can edit.
I don't. Should I finish my thought, or should I wait for Jolly to get in here? I don't know.
You know what? You go ahead. Your thought.
One of the things that I wind up really appreciating about Donkey Kong Country as a game now is how stripped down and simplified it is compared to so many other like platformers in that generation. Like, it's going to be really hard for me to talk about the DKC games without referring back to my videos from a year ago. But like, you walk into a level, you're going to be able to finish that level just with all the things you've learned right then and there. There's no ammo to worry about. There's no like power-ups you need to think about really, except for like the animal buddies or the other Kongs. And like, so when I play that game, it's just like I feel really in tune with it, because it's like everything that's there, everything that's gonna be there is already there, you know? And I think that the other DKC games kind of got that, but I feel like they added some stuff or tweaked some stuff that made it a little bit more complex.
Yeah.
So yeah, DKC 2 is just like, in my mind, one of the closest things we'll ever come to a perfect gaming experience, because like it's so accessible. Regardless of who you are, you can learn to do this, and you don't have to worry about the game like throwing you any curveballs or anything like that.
Let's go on to DKC 2, because I think you're right. DKC 1 was such a cohesive experience. Like, it just felt so like a little package just delivered to you, you know? And then DKC 2 expanded in like almost every way. Welcome back, Jolly, by the way. He's rejoined us. Nope, his audio's still
I don't think
out.
he can hear us.
He can hear us.
No.
Well, he figures it out.
Because I know he's got a lot to say about DKC 2.
Yeah,
Let's just watch him.
We can wait if he tries to figure it out.
Let's just watch him.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Can you hear
Oh
us?
my gosh, I fixed it!
Yay!
Okay, so where did I leave off?
So,
King K. Rool in Donkey Kong Country 1.
We've moved on.
We've moved on, bro. You were gone for 14 years.
It's okay though, Jolly. We're going.
I finished your thought.
Oh yeah.
It's
Finish your
fine.
thought for sure. And then we were just leading into DKC 2, but finish your thought. What were you saying?
We're inside your head, man.
Donkey Kong Country 1 King K. Rool was the best boss ever, and you guys are the worst friends ever.
Hey,
No,
dude,
it's all
all
good.
I said was the exact same thing.
Yeah,
That's all I said.
Perry finished your thought for you.
Boss is great, the credits are great, and the music was fantastic because it starts
the
off.
song.
It also mimics the fight. It starts off kind of like cheesy, and then gets like super duper serious.
Dude.
And it's basically an Iron Maiden song in Donkey Kong.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
It's Iron Maiden. That's why you said Iron Maiden ship. I thought you meant like the old medieval casket, but you meant the band.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
That's why K. Rool was awesome. Okay, guys.
It's one of my favorite songs in all video games. It really is.
We hear you, bro.
Easy didn't like it.
I'm also
I
having.
I like
like
the
it?
song. The song was fine.
Do you not like Iron Maiden, VZed? What do you got against Bruce Dickinson?
What's with this witch hunt all of a sudden? Of course I like Iron Maiden.
No,
I'm pretty sure I like Iron Maiden more than any of you guys.
The song made the battle too. Like that was part of the whole experience. I agree.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. It's Donkey Kong Country. The music is fantastic, and always like adds a lot to the game.
Excellent. I agree. Let's go to DKC 2. Thoughts on DKC 2? Obviously, expanded everything.
Best game.
It's
not wrong.
It's a lot of people's best Donkey Kong game. Some people's favorite game of all time. It's got a lot of hype
One
and
of the best on
expectations
the
attached
console
to
for
it.
sure. Definitely one of the best on the console.
Yeah.
So Donkey Kong Country 2, and I'm sure Alec can talk about this like a lot, like how the games improved upon each other, because he literally did a video series about how the games improved on each other.
You guys got to check him out too.
And Donkey Kong Country 2 has always been my favorite, and like from like when I was younger, obviously it had to be my favorite because it's the one with pirates in it, and it's all like a swashbuckling adventure. It was amazing. But like just like even like replaying them now, like I always found like the levels stand out to me more, the music stands out to me more, the boss fight, like Donkey Kong Country 1, like all the bosses were kind of like plays on like the normal enemies, like Naughty was just a bigger version of the normal.
Yeah,
They were all
And
big versions of old
and
man.
Necky and
And
yeah,
then
they were all bigger
repeat
versions,
them.
but like
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Country 2 got like more creative, and like I still remember like the first boss is Necky, and he's like a big pirate vulture, and it's just hilarious because it's like his pirate head is probably like so heavy that I don't even know how he can fly with it, and he just like lays eggs at you. But then like you get to the second boss, and like it's literally like a demonic possessed sword,
Yep.
and you're like, oh my god, and like
Yeah.
you can't escape because like with Necky you feel like you're more in control, and it's like, yeah, I can dodge these eggs, no problem. But like when you get to that second boss, no matter where you are, that boss is going to chase you, and you're not like, because Necky has like a pattern where he moves. The sword's pattern is that he's after your monkey butt, and he's not going to stop chasing you. And like
They're also multi-staged in a lot of cases. Like a lot of the bosses have like different stages, whereas in the first game they just got like it was like Space Invaders. You'd like do better and they would get harder, right? But like with these other games or with these other bosses in DKC2, it was like, you know, there's actual clear differences in their strategies and their tactics.
Yep.
Yeah, and like even like I'll use the sword as an example because I was literally just talking to him, and like I was playing Donkey Kong Country 2 a couple nights ago, and like that was the last boss that I got to, so he's still fresh in my mind. But like you take off hits with him, and it's like you go to the right and the left of the stage, and it's like, yeah, I got this, and then suddenly like a million sky hooks fall from the air, and they're in the air that you can like grab onto, and it's like, what are you expecting me to do with these? You're not. Do I have to run? And yeah, you have to like run all the way through the stage and like away from him, and it's like the fight just it's like intensifies.
It feels more open-ended than the other boss fights. You could go whatever direction you want to go. You just gotta take him down.
You just gotta go.
And like the other boss that always scared me, what's his name? Like Clubba, the guy that you gotta like play tokens to. Oh my gosh, like his reach was that was a boss.
The big old stick, man.
He was another boss that was like difficult. Really, it was really difficult for me when I was younger because like you're so used to like bosses. Like in games, like at the time, like Super Mario World, like all the bosses, like it's like, oh well, if I stay away from them, they're not going to hit me. But that boss in particular, his club was so long, like his hitbox, like took up so much of the stage. And I, like as a kid, me and my sister, we were just not used to a boss being like that, like being able to like hit you from so far away. And we were like, well, we have to think about how to do this fight differently because we can't just run away from him and then run in when we want to attack. He's like he can reach us from he's getting us. So like we really had to like think about how we wanted to approach him differently,
and like, he can like stop you in your tracks if you don't jump,
and
stuff like
and
that.
Then like if he jumps while you're on the ground, and then he stumbles you. So like there's a lot of like they got really creative with the bosses, and like they're like, how can we challenge the player in like different ways? Because like the old bosses I like, but like the Donkey Kong Country 2 bosses just like amped it up to like 100.
King Sing Sting like still gives me nightmares.
Oh yeah, dude.
That boss is still really hard for me.
In particular, the level before it, when he freaking chases you in the level with Randy.
That part's so intense. So intense.
As a kid, like, that terrified me.
I think there were a lot of levels that, like, really, like, got you nervous. And, like, the one I like is, my favorite level in the game that it sticks out to me is probably always the one that's, like, you're on a sinking ship, and the lockjaw, the man-eating piranha is in the water, and it's playing like the lockjaw music, which is like my favorite song of the game, and it's like the ship is constantly sinking, and you're just trying to like jump, and you're like, when does it ever end? And if you touch the water, the piranha eats you, and like it's really good. And like
Slime Climb.
That's right.
Called.
That's it. And then
isn't the water green?
Yeah, and they did a good job. Like I feel like. Obviously, like, if we're talking, like, from game design perspective, because, like, one of the first levels in the game, you fight Lockjaw, like, to introduce you to him, because they're like, here's our man-eating piranha in the game, and he's going to be in a couple levels, but don't worry, the first level you fight him, you get to have an animal buddy that can kill him, so it's, like, they ease you into it over the course of the game, and, like, I feel like Donkey Kong Country 2 does a really good job at, like, starting you off easy and, like, really expanding off what, like, you already know, because, like, you start off and like in the first level, it's like sometimes they'll have like bananas near an edge, so it's like, oh, I'm gonna roll into these bananas, and then you'll jump right after you fall off the edge, and then it's like, oh, I can jump out of a roll attack. Oh, that's really cool. The banana placement taught me how to do that, and like later you'll find like a barrel, and there'll be an arc of bananas going out of the barrel, and you're like, oh, I can shoot to get bananas out of the barrel, and then there'll be another banana, but the banana arc leading out of the barrel bends, so it's like, I can control the trajectory of where I go out of some of the barrels, and like it teaches you all that just by like banana placement on the screen, and I thought that game like did a lot better job than. And then like then you start like using those advanced techniques more because like later on you get to like the swamp levels, and then like you'll be rolling off of platforms a lot, and you can jump out of your rolls, like, and it might just save your life. And like they have some like secrets that you can get to that way, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to go through all the levels and see what kind of secrets I can find with this super technique. And I remember when I found that out when I was younger, I was like, it's like I found out like this scientific discovery. It's like rocket science. I know how to jump out of a roll. I changed the game. I can play the game differently now.
Well, and then there's Screech's Sprint that actually requires you to use that to get through the level. Like there are a bunch of obstacles that you can't get past unless you've mastered the roll jump.
Yeah,
Cartwheel jump, spin jump, whatever.
Guys, I think we've skipped over one of the most important features of Donkey Kong Country 2.
Bring it.
And that is, am I right, guys?
Oh,
Dixie Kong.
Oh, Dixie Kong. Sorry. Dixie Kong.
You cut right out.
Yeah, I cut out when you said that. Say it again.
And that is, am I right, guys?
Dixie Kong!
Yeah.
Dixie
Okay.
Kong.
What I was going to say...
Dixie Kong is super important.
I agree.
Good.
The reason I really like Donkey Kong Country 2 is because both playable characters are really fun and agile to play as. The addition of Dixie Kong made that possible. Donkey was slow and heavy, and now both of them are nimble. Dixie can float, Diddy's fast, etc.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I really like that with because like I guess in the animal buddies, like you get different characters with the animal buddies, but they're very like situational for like specific challenges. But like for the most part, like yeah, Donkey Kong felt heavier than Diddy, and he could do like the little ground pound attack. But like Donkey Kong Country 2, Dixie Kong felt like much more of a different character that you could approach things totally differently with it, because she's like, oh, I can like fly forever, and like she comes in a lot. There are some really vertical levels, which another thing Donkey Kong Country 2 did is they had a lot of levels that they were like, you know what,
Yeah,
we're gonna make this vertical, and a lot of the honeycomb levels let you do that, and a lot of like the mining melancholy level, it's all about vertical like going up, and it changes how you think about like platforming. It's not just, oh, can I run to the side anymore, and like they add a lot more platforms in, and like the way you have to like approach enemies in that kind of situation is totally different, and it really like makes you think. It's like, okay, what Kong do I want to use for this? And like, because Diddy Kong like can go really really fast, and his attack is like immediate, but like Dixie Kong, when you spin, like it's almost like her hitbox for her hair attack doesn't come out right away, but she can float over things. And like, if you had like a younger sibling, like my sister probably wasn't as good at video games as I was, so I would always let her be Dixie Kong, because then she had like that hair, and she's like, oh well, I feel just safer if I can.
Well, it's kind of like what I think VZed said, that it's more accessible, right? It's more accessible to new players.
Yeah.
Perry, why do you like Dixie Kong?
I like Dixie Kong just because the hair floating mechanic is just the best thing in the world. And when you beat the level with Dixie Kong, she plays an electric guitar!
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That is the hypest thing. I was like, yo, I want to be Dixie Kong in every game from this point on.
Yeah. I would always switch. I would switch right before I beat the level so that I could see Dixie's ending.
Yeah! Yeah!
I liked both of them. I liked how Diddy Kong had like the beatbox.
No, Diddy was great too. Yeah.
But Dixie Kong, I definitely was the favorite.
Yeah.
And like that's more of that Donkey Kong personality. Like these weren't just Mario sprites that were there just to jump. Like
one was red and one was green.
Yeah, like Donkey Kong, like the characters felt more like actual characters, because like they would blink, and like when they hurt, they'd go ow, and like they would react. Because like in Mario, like you get hit and it's just like, burr, 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 burr. But in like Donkey Kong, you get hit. Donkey Kong looks at the screen and he's like, and, like,
and like if you left them alone long enough, they'd get bored and start doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my god, there's just a lot of like, and my favorite thing in Donkey Kong Country 2 is every time you get to a boss fight, they do the Looney Tunes thing where they jump up in the air and their eyes pop out of their head.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's amazing.
Yes. They feel more relatable. They have personality. You can connect with them.
Yeah, they were way more like. I always think that. I always think that Donkey Kong Country was like they were more like actual characters, whereas like the Mario characters were characters, but like they were more just sprites that
they
you
were
controlled.
icons, whereas these ones were characters.
It's weird that we can relate more to little monkeys than a Italian human.
Yeah, well, I mean,
plumber.
Credit
I didn't do
credit
trades.
to
I did
Rare,
arts.
they-
Okay.
VZed, you said that this was probably the best one on the Super Nintendo, and I think you said your favorite of the first three.
Oh, I think it's one of the best games on the console.
Yeah.
But I just think because it just decided to push so many boundaries, but never really like stepped over those boundaries. You know, like it didn't like go too far, but like everything about it was building off of what made the first game so great. So like the first game had like a ton of different environments, and like each one of them felt different rather than just looked different. And then this game was like, you know, we talked about the theming in the first game a little bit, and then the theming in the second game is just so all over the place, because it's like, it's not taking you away from home. You've already gone away from home, you know? So like the first area is like you're on a ship, and it's like you're on an adventure, and the boat's like sinking at one point and whatever. And Like,
I
and then
guess we should say that like DK is captured because that's the main plot point of this game is where Dixie and Diddy have to go save DK.
I like to think the pirate ship is the ship that you fought K. Rool on, and now you're.
I think it's supposed to be.
I think it is.
Yeah,
too.
it totally is.
I mean, it's a different design of ship, but I mean,
they always
change stuff back.
But
then.
that's awesome though. I mean, that makes it feel so connected.
It makes it feel like a sequel.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just love how, like, while the first game had environments that were so connected and, like, built off of each other really well, the second game didn't have any of that. It was all just, like, okay, you're in a volcano, and now you're in, like, a swamp with ghosts, and now you're in an amusement park that's, like, haunted by bees, and it just kept going, and then you're just like, I don't feel comfortable here at all. Exactly, because this is enemy territory. Like,
man,
that's exactly right.
You know?
You're already away from home, so that's what it's going to be like.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool because like it's Crim Island or something like that, right?
Crocodile.
Croc Island,
Crocodile Isle.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there we go. And like it has K. Rool written all over it because K. Rool likes pirate ships, he likes theme parks, he likes swamps. He likes big castles. It's got everything you need if you're a big evil crocodile. So it's great.
I love the
it
amusement
does.
park. I love just the amusement park stuff.
Yeah, those roller
amusement park
coasters.
has some really cool levels.
Yeah,
a lot of the levels, like I just said that, but like a lot of the levels, they really took a layer. Like, okay, let's take basic platforming. Let's they had like a layer of challenge to it, and they were like, okay, so for like the amusement park, they're like, okay, we already had minecart levels in the last game. How can we like make them different? And they have one level where you're in a race against other minecarts.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
And then they have the one where the ghost is chasing you, where it's like, okay, let's really put the pressure on these guys. Like,
Dude,
it's like,
that's such a tense level.
yeah.
And then,
Speaking of tense levels, Haunted Hall.
and then with
yeah.
the vertical levels, they were like, okay, we're gonna make honeycomb levels, but guess we can make honey sticky, so we'll make that like part of the level design. So it became more of like a Mega Man thing where it's like you could wall jump now because you could wall jump off the honey to like ascend through the level, and they had a lot of cool secrets like involved with that. And then they had a lot of levels where like they were like, okay, let's make wind a factor, and they had like the first mining melancholy level is like you're just jumping vertically up. It's like, okay, I got it. They're like, okay, let's see how you can do it now when wind will like force you up, and it's like, like they keep adding layers and layers of challenges onto like already like concepts they play around with.
It's like they enhance the character without actually enhancing the character. Like they gave you new abilities without powering you up.
Yeah, exactly.
I think another cool thing, like when you're talking about the roller coaster, it just made me think like they took basic designs from the first game and then like enhanced it or like tweaked it a little bit. Because like the first game it had minecarts, but in the second game, you got freaking roller coasters. Like they tweak the design a little bit and enhance it. It's really cool.
That's true.
And like the same thing with the animal buddies. Like for the first time ever, you have a flying animal buddy, and you could do flying levels, and that's a completely different
And one that
like
creates
game
its own platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, the animal buddies were more practical, I'd say.
I think they were the best in the second game. The animal buddies.
But I mean, like in the first one, it was like all movement. You know, like it was like this one jumps higher, this one runs faster. And when you think about it, running faster in that game doesn't really help you.
Right.
Like,
right.
I mean, really, all it does is make
Don't
the game
talk
harder.
crap about Ouija.
Well, I'm thinking.
That's why I said running faster.
I'm thinking
about
espresso.
Yeah.
It's almost too fast. When you run with espresso, it's almost too fast.
I don't like espresso.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she helps you fly, but that's like it, right? Or it helps you
Her
float.
bonus is good.
Yeah.
Her bonus was good.
Yeah.
That's the bonus stage I remember the most because it's in the first level.
Yep.
But yeah, like in DKC2, a lot of the animal buddies were more in tune with getting into new places. Like Squitter would help you like climb, and like Squawks will help you fly places. And then of course Rambi is now speed and just like he just wrecks everything, you know.
Yeah.
Like
Rambi's the coolest.
he's your tank.
And they put in those like really strong blue guys that like you can't kill traditionally. That Rambi can just wreck. Like you can.
Those guys.
Like
Those
they
guys
gave
have such a great design.
yeah.
When they get mad and
Yeah, because
like-
they were like big bodybuilder guys that didn't have leg day because like their legs were like this big. Remember that?
They skip leg.
And then like if you jumped on them, they turned red, and so like the only way you could kill them is like throw your friend at them.
And you're
like,
right. That's different from the first game because like DK could kill big guys in the first game, but now you don't have DK anymore. You have two small guys. So how do you take care of them? Yeah, exactly. One thing that I think, and this might be my favorite part of DKC2, is the Lost World. Just the fact that was a part of the game. The fact, and obviously that's kind of our main point in the good game design, but that's unreal to me. And the fact that that's just a part of the game and added all this extra stuff, rewarding you for finding the secrets, genius and just flawless.
Yeah.
We're in agreement. Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
To expand off that, I guess, the Lost World, like, there were always, like, secrets in Donkey Kong Country, but now, like, they meant more, because, like, you would find, like, a couple secret coins, maybe, through your first world, because they were like, okay, yeah, I found a secret, maybe you found it by accident, and they were all really easy bonus stages, like, oh, I got a couple coins, but that's cool. But then, like, you get to, the first time, like, if you get enough, you can pay the dude, and like you get to Cranky's side, and Cranky tells you, he's like, "This is Lost World, and you are not a good enough player to play here, my friend."
And
he's like, "You got to get all the
level
secrets."
Is really hard.
Oh yeah, with the jungle with the tires.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that was incredible.
You're out of your element if you go early. You know.
Like there were some hard levels in that game, but then when you get to the Lost World, it's like, guess what, guys? If you thought the rest of the game was hard, like this is where the big boys play. This is the secret world.
It's so true.
You got to be good to play here, and like it was cool because when you get there, Cranky is all like, yeah, you're not going to be able to like play here unless you're really, really good. And he's like, and the only way you can is if you get the secrets, and then you're immediately like, I got to find all the secrets. And then
it's like a challenge. Yeah. He's like, I dare you.
And he hints a surprise. He's like, oh, there's a big surprise. He's like, I believe what he says, like word for word, if I can remember, he's like, if you want to finish this game properly, and you're like, oh, you bet your monkey butt I do. And then like it's like Cranky smack talks you into like wanting to do it, and then like it's really, really fun because like when you beat the game, normally it like shows like Cranky's like, oh, here's the rank of how great heroes are, and it shows like Mario and Yoshi and Link and like as like the best heroes, and Diddy Kong is like not ranked as high as them, and it's like, oh, you got to get more of the secret stuff to be as good as them, and then. So, like, that also drives you to get the secrets. And the other thing I thought was really, really funny about that is, like, off to the side, they have the best heroes, and they're all Nintendo guys, and then off to the side, they have Sonic the Hedgehog's shoes and Earthworm Jim's gun, like, in a trash can.
Yeah.
I never noticed that.
I like the little hints to the other games.
Like, that was so funny. Like, I thought that was hilarious. I was like, ah, Sonic's in the trash can. He's not a hero.
One thing I liked about The Lost World is how... And this was like a totally personal experience. Like when I went there as a kid, I tried the first level with the tires, and it was just like, nope, like this is not happening. So I just kind of said no, and then I finished the game normally, and like forgot about the Lost World. I'm like, who cares about the Lost World? But then like when I was trying to 100% it or 102% it for the video, I was just like, well, I guess I got to do this Lost World thing, and I was like really anxious to like get in there and like try it. And I was super nervous, and I did it. But each level was like properly challenging, and so it was like it felt like that anxiety was like came full circle, like it was worth it, you know. And the fifth level, Animal Antics,
the animal buddy last level.
Oh, with that squawks bit, it's just
the
like
ultimate challenge of a level.
Go home, like that is the hardest part of that game by far, except for maybe the fight with K. Rool. Like the first one, I still think is legit tough, but
and that's a really good final boss as well.
It's an excellent final boss.
As much as I talked how much I loved the first K. Rool fight, the second K. Rool fight is probably my favorite Donkey Kong Country boss, period.
By far.
He's like, he's got like, he challenged, like the way his gun operates, it makes for such good platforming, like obstacles. Because it's all about timing your jumps and like weaving through like the hitboxes and stuff, and like it really makes it more of a platforming challenge. And, he has so many tricks up his sleeve, and he knows it too. He'll be like, you'll hit him, and then he'll look at the camera, and he's like, hey guys, it's invisible time. Winks, and then he goes invisible, and you're like, what? You can't do that. And like, and then like
that was so BS.
Because he shoots bullets regularly, and it's like, yeah, I got this. I can kick your butt. And then he's all like, "Oh yeah," and then he shoots bullets, and they start doing loop-de-loops, and it's like that's cheating. But like, of course he would cheat because he's K. Rool.
He's the bad guy.
It just made sense. And then like some of the shots would like limit you. It's like, oh great, I'm not dead yet, but now I can't jump, or now I'm really
might as well be dead,
or now I'm really slow. But it's still like it pressured you, and it made you like feel stressed.
I agree that it's probably the best DK boss.
And my favorite trick he has up his sleeve in that fight is like you hit him maybe like 6 or something times, and every time after you hit him, his gun explodes and shoots out a cannonball, and like it explodes, his ashes on his face is all really cute. But then like one of the times you do that, he pulls a fast one on you, and when his gun explodes, the bullet comes out like 3 times as fast, and so it always got me by surprise. That like one hit, and like the boss, like there was just so many like tricks he had up his sleeves as a boss fight. And relating back to what we talked about the Secret World, one of the best thing about the Secret World is the payoff is because you unlock like the real fight with K. Rool, which is where you fight.
Easy. Not gonna lie,
because
it's a lot shorter.
At that point, like you've already been through hell and back, so you're good enough to fight him. But like as like a K. Rool fight, like he basically attacks forever with all those shots, and like it's like the final platforming challenge. It's like you got to pull off a lot of amazing jumps to finally get that hit on him.
Yeah. The thing about that is you can miss that hit so easily because you have to like break the cannonball out of the barrel, right? Yeah. So if you miss that, you got to do it all over again. So it's potentially like the most teeth-pullingly hard boss in the game. But if you get that first hit, it's not really that bad.
I like to think the second K. Rool fight is kind of your reward for doing those levels, you know? Because it's not that it's way harder. It's just fun, and it's a reward, you know?
And it's really cool because like when you beat him the first time, he all cartooningly falls down. Because the whole game you're ascending up a mountain, and the mountain gets eviler and darker as you get higher and higher through the mountain. And then you beat K. Rool, and then he flies out. Donkey Kong. You save Donkey Kong, and then Donkey Kong, who you've been waiting to see the whole game because it's Donkey Kong Country. He winds up his super duper donkey Smash Brothers punch, and it just smashes K. Rool out of the window. And then K. Rool flies out the castle. He's like, "Ow, ow, ow, ow!" He falls down like every layer of like the mountain, and then he falls down into the water, and all the piranhas like go like the piranhas start like biting him, and he's like, "Ow, ow, ow!" And like, so when you fight him the second time. It's funny because he jumps out of the water and he's all covered in the seaweed, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that's right. You hate me now." Like, I loved it. It was
a good point. That's something I take for granted now when I play it again. But you're right. Like that's awesome and really clever.
Yeah, it was really well set up.
Perry, do you have any final thoughts on DKC 2?
Really good.
It's stinking good. I think just our talk proves that there's so much that we think about this game.
Could talk about that game for hours.
Yeah,
it's super satisfying to play. Like the one thing I want to say about the K. Rool fight is I recently played it with a friend of mine, and like it's really funny when you play it co-op because you're like, "Oh, I'm not so good at the swirly swirls, so can you switch out real quick so you can handle that?" And then like we would like strategize the thing, and it was really really like satisfying that way.
Old school
and,
teamwork.
Yeah, it's like you don't really get a feel that kind of like sensation like, "Oh, let me do this while you can do that," and then like if you die, I can bring you here, and then we'll beat them. And like, oh man, it was just so satisfying to like beat it like with a friend.
Even by yourself, I would strategize and have Diddy out first, so that if I got hit, I had Dixie as my backup.
Exactly,
you know? Things like that.
I totally did that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I can beat him with Diddy, great. But if I get hit, at least I have Dixie. If I lose Dixie, it's over, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Can't remember who I finished that
like
with.
One other thing,
just genius.
One other thing I want to mention, like if you compare the first game to the second game, is like if you go from DKC 1 directly to 2, is how much faster the game plays. The first game, like it's not a slow game, but like when you're like running around and stuff, it's a lot slower, like maybe like 25% slower than the second game. And like when you get in the second game, like both characters are incredibly fast. And when you're rolling and jumping off guys, you are just blazing through the level if you want to. And like that's really satisfying. It's like you can play it as a really slow, like let me explore everything kind of game, or you can play it as like let's just run through this as quickly as possible. And it's satisfying either way.
Yeah.
So true.
I see what you mean.
What's funny to me is we were saying how in DKC 1 it gets darker as you progress, it gets more industrialized, you're farther away from home, and yet compare DKC 1 to DKC 2, and the first game is a jolly jaunter, just like it's a happy, like it still feels like comparatively, I feel like, man, that's just a happy, fun little game. And then the second one is when it gets really dark and really,
So it gets real.
You know what I mean? Like it's weird how the first game has its dark moments, but that's nothing compared to where you go in the second game.
The last world is really, really spooky. Like it feels like you shouldn't be there.
You mean the castle?
The
castle level.
Yeah.
Especially
like everything. Like they pull out all the stops to kill you, and you're like, "Holy crap! I really need to step up my game here."
Yep.
And it feels so good to beat it. Castle Crush, y'all! Castle Crush.
For me, it's the slime one where the green lava's rising, and you turn into different animal buddies, and you have to climb
Toxic
the
Tower.
That one's
Toxic
so
Tower. Yeah.
And the final Sticker Rush, the Bramble Scramble level, the final one.
Ooh, dude, that one
Screech's
is
Sprint.
Oh.
Another great example on how like the music in that game, like there's so many ways they use the music in like Donkey Kong Country too. Like it starts like you can start off the game and it's like a pirated. It sounds like Pirates of the Caribbean kind of, but it's all kind of happy. And then you get like the Snaky Channy level and it's all like really happy piratey fun music. But then, like, you get to, like, honeycomb levels, and it's really creepy, or, like, Lava Head Bop, and it's kind of, like, mysterious and melancholic.
But it's, like, creepy in a way that you don't see coming, They make these things creepy.
The other thing I really like that 2 did is that in all the, like, cave levels, or at least, like, I know for sure in the lava ones, because I just played it, they did a really cool thing with the sound design where they add, like, an echo filter on every sound. And like that was so cool because like even like any noise made by anything, like even an enemy dying, like suddenly echoes and it makes it so much more like spooky. It's like, what, the game does that?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I feel like we're almost kind of looping back on Donkey Kong Country. I feel like we're repeating ourselves.
Well,
I agree. The music drives the mood.
We could talk about 2 for hours. I feel like
it's true.
The music in 2 I think is fantastic. Oh, my favorite, and then my favorite song, Donkey Kong Country 2, is the Lockjaw song because it's all like high-strung violin music, and it only plays in levels where you're being chased by Lockjaw. So it's like chase music, yeah.
That's good stuff.
And like it's. Like Wise really did a good job at designing the soundtrack to make you feel. And like the whole reason I brought up this discussion is because with Bramble Scramble, it's really a level that you want to play like Brain Surgery because it's all about like if you touch the ground, it's like the floor is hot, like the floor is spikes, and if you touch it, you die. So the music is like really like ominous, and it's like you're in this giant vine thing in the sky, and so it's kind of like calming. So it's like I can do this. I just got to press it at the right second.
Yeah,
it's a magical experience overall.
I think that's what everybody knows about 2 is that
Sticker
song
Brush,
and that level.
Sticker Brush Symphony. That's like the most known Donkey Kong song. I feel
beautiful.
It's very iconic, and I think it's iconic for a reason. It's very powerful.
For the sake of time, I think we got to move on to DKC 3. And it'll be funny to kind of talk about it because I feel like that's such a way to end this. It's like, yes, DKC 2. But let's go into DKC 3. What did you like or dislike about DKC 3 and what they changed?
Sucks.
Let me tell you.
And because that's the general consensus, right? A lot of people are like, it's terrible. Personally, I really like it.
I also
I don't
really like it.
Perry doesn't like it.
I'm like between Perry and Jolly in this.
I can see why people think it is not better. And I think I agree that the second one's a better experience, but I still really like it. I still really like the third one.
Like, okay, let me just tell you, like from the get-go, when you pop this game in, you're like, okay, who is this slobbering baby monkey fool? I don't want to play as that. Why has he got blue pajamas on? I don't want to play as that. Where's Diddy? Like, totally unsells you on the game immediately. Like, why would you want to play as a baby that's probably mentally handicapped?
It's even funnier because like the first level in the game, the music is so like, haha, trolled you. So it's like
you
start off as Kitty, and the music is like bum 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 bum, and it's like what?
Like aesthetically for me, like the third game just feels very, very cartoony. And like same thing with the music. It's got like this weird like poppy like
very happy
dopiness to it. I don't know. Like I like it, but at the same time I'm like let's go back to the second or the first game where like it was just a
departure from the second, right? Where we were just talking about how the second one is so dark, and then you go here and it's so different.
I think in a lot of ways 3 was trying to return to the feel of 1. And one thing that I do really like about number 3 is not necessarily Kitty's character design, Perry,
right?
But the way he plays brings the good parts of 1 and 2 together. Because like Diddy, for as awesome as he is as a character, it doesn't play very uniquely. Like he doesn't have much that sets him apart as his own like useful mechanical character. But Kitty brings back the Donkey Kong aspects of gameplay, which combines the unique stuff they added in 2 with the unique stuff from 1, right? So I think that in a lot of ways the game plays really well as a simple like boiled down mechanical experience, but they kind of ruined it by adding all of that extra difficulty stuff in each level, because like in every level there's like just one thing that changes the gameplay a little bit, which works a lot of the time, but some of the levels are just like
from the get-go, it seems to be every single level has something. Like we were talking about when the honeycomb levels added a new gameplay element, blah, blah, blah. Every level adds something new in this one.
Well, most of them do. Like some of them, like the first couple of levels are just like you running around on docks.
Well, even the first level, I think anyway, that's the first level. No, I guess not. Where it's on land and in water, but I guess that's not true. That's in the second game.
Yeah. But yeah, like it gets kind of out of hand to like towards the end of the level or the game where it's like, hey, this is a swimming level, but when you're in the water, your controls are reversed. Like when that happened, I was just kind of like, why?
I think in terms of co-op, the third game was the strongest, just because like each character felt like it had its own purpose to it, and like if you did things correctly combined, like you could get to secrets and stuff you couldn't get to otherwise. And I think in that like aspect, it's definitely like very cool and strong. But I mean, I just have a lot of like problems with most of the levels itself. I think towards the end of the game, like they just have these ridiculous levels. You're just like, how am I supposed to beat this? Like the one
level.
for me, like what?
Lightning level. Yeah,
dude, yeah. Like what's up with the lightning? Why would you make that? It's just completely sinister. Like it's very, very difficult to beat. And I don't know if you guys struggle with it, but I still have a hard time with the shield guy level.
Yeah.
Where there's shield guys all over the place.
Those are the levels that like you play over and over and over again until you finally beat it, and then when you finish it, you feel satisfied, but not like that good kind of satisfied. You feel like
you're just like I'm done. I don't want to do that ever again.
You feel like you just killed the man who killed your father. It's like, yes, I have finished my objective, but it doesn't make me feel any
It doesn't
better.
bring back my father.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so rolling back a little bit, I think like the most obvious way, like the first immediate way you recognize Donkey Kong Country 3 changed up the formula is like the first thing you see is they have the new overworld, which is like like it's a new sense of it's a new set because like you had 1 and 2, which all felt very like one was Donkey Kong Isle and then one was K. Rool. In third, like the world isn't as recognizable. Like it's really like this new mysterious place, and it's like, well, it's not really K. Rool themed. It's not Donkey Kong themed. Where am I? And like I guess the overworld lets you like explore around the map, and you have to unlock different vehicles to like get to different places, and it really like makes it feel it's like that you're exploring a new place. So like I can appreciate that for its own merit. I don't think that's necessarily better or worse, but I can appreciate it. And like so I think there's a lot of like kind of mystery in the third one. Like what I always remember as a kid, because I was still even confused. I knew that it's like, okay, well, K. Rool's still the villain again, but it's kind of weird because he's like a new K. Rool. But at first, you don't even really know that because like you're going through the game, and I guess like everyone's like, oh, you gotta go fight Kraus or something, and he's like like everything is weird because like even like some of the enemies feel different, and like the zingers or the bees are now robots, and instead of like stingers, they have like rotating saw blades inside the bees now, and it's like there's some guy. It's someone's making robots, and then you finally get to what you thought was the big bad boss. And then here's my favorite part about Donkey Kong Country 3, and it's not the final boss, but it's the boss that you think is the final boss at first. You get to him, and it's this giant flying robot thing, and it's so 90s, and you're like, what the heck?
The chaos.
And
dude, okay.
It flies around, and it has these blades, and Perry, did you want to talk about it a bit?
Yeah, it's like a Terminator bot, and it's out to kill you, and it's literally the coolest. I think it might be one of the coolest boss designs in the entire series.
That's true.
And when I play that game, I look forward to fighting whatever that thing's. Do you guys remember the name of it?
Chaos.
Chaos. That's it.
Chaos. Yeah.
The rapper, or not the rapper.
Go on.
Nothing. It was. Never mind. I'm talking.
But yeah, the whole point of that boss is really cool because you're avoiding his traps, but also using them against him, which is kind of fun. He uses blood come out, and you have to jump on top of the blades, which seems like an impossible task. But hey, it's the '90s; it's supposed to be crazy cool, and you just dunk on his head, and he's got multiple heads, and it's really
the helmet
cool.
comes off. And it's the metal head underneath. It is Terminator.
Metalhead was the coolest.
The first time I played that, Skype's kind of hiccuping, but the first time I played that fight, I was actually, when his head came off, immediately I was like, okay, Rule's gonna be under there. And then it wasn't. It was like Tin Man Terminator, and I was like, what? And it was, that boss is so, I do agree, I almost feel like a lot of the other boss fights, Donkey Kong Country 3, with Donkey Kong Country 2, what I talked about before, how all the boss fights were, super duper cool. I feel like a lot of the boss fights in 3 weren't as, they don't stick out to me as much. The spider one.
Disagree, but
the spider one, well, some of them I like better. I actually really liked the boss fight with the barrel where you have to throw the barrels back in his mouth and then he burps and, falls back and falls.
You like Belcha?
Dude, Belch is one of my favorites.
I love that fight. It was so unique.
They're more unique, but they're a lot happier than the others. The other ones were scary.
Yeah.
These ones are goofy, but they're
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 honestly
all goofy.
But
I honestly think DKC3 is the best bosses in the series.
I thought it looked cool. Here's the thing: Chaos is one of my favorite bosses, and I like the wooden. What's his name? The wooden barrel that burps.
Belcha.
I like
Belcha,
Belcha, but then the spider kind of feels like he doesn't do anything. He's just kind of there for you to beat up on, is what I always felt, because I never ever got hit by him.
He shoots stuff at you all the time. But
I was expecting him to try to use one of his legs to punch me or something.
Yeah.
He's really
just the spider.
He's really just there to throw barrels at, and then what was the other boss I didn't really
Dude, remember the crab in the waterfall?
Yeah.
The most joke boss around?
No, that was cool,
that's
though.
dumb. But at least it was it was cool because it wasn't trying to attack you. It was just trying to push you off. It was
I like that one.
Smash Bros. And
it was all right, I guess. I never got pushed off.
It was unique, actually.
Good for you.
The more I think about it, I think I do like most of the bosses. I think that the one boss, I guess, that I just really, really hate is K. Rool in that game.
K. Rool is the worst in that.
Yeah, it's pretty darn awful.
Even thematically, he doesn't really work. He just floats around and doesn't actually do anything to you. And, you hit him by, knocking him into the electricity, and it's it's gonna happen by accident sooner or later. If we just sit there long enough, he's gonna zap himself, and that's gonna be it. He's not even interested in you. One of the things is you have to, ride a platform underneath him and just duck. You're going along, and then it's just kind of okay, and now I'm okay, And he could have he could have farted on you and dealt some damage on you or something, but nothing happens. He's just there. And
he doesn't.
I think
that whole boss fight, he doesn't even care that you're there.
Because that whole game just feels like you're just there, and it's whatever.
I like that game. It is a good game.
I think the ending is the weakest part of that game. I think everything up to that point is at least fun. It may not necessarily be as effective as the first two games, but it's at least it's fun and challenging and at least somewhat interesting. And then you get to the last 3 levels. As soon as you hit the lightning level, that's when you start going okay, this is starting to get stupid. And then you get to the coin dozers, and it's just okay, this is even stupider. And then you get to the backwards water swimming level, and it's I give up. Like, what even? And the last boss is like, okay, now I'm done. Like, this is the end, right? But nope, there's a lost world. Oh boy.
The K. Rool is just like the most anticlimactic part of that game, because in the first game, like, he was such a... We talked about how cool he was and how he pulled the credits and he had tricks up his sleeve, and in the second game, he had like all those tricks up his sleeve and he was like relentlessly going after you. And like, as Alex said, like pretty much what you said, he just doesn't even care that you're there. He doesn't even try to attack you. The only way you get hurt is if like you just fall into one of like the stage hazards. Like, he just flies around. He doesn't even look at you. He's just literally like, they could have replaced him with like a flying balloon. That's all he is.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the earlier bosses were unique to the world. We were talking about in the first game, they were just bigger enemies. In this game, a lot of those bosses were unique. You never saw them in the game at all. But I agree that the end game felt unsatisfying, and also just a lot of the levels, even though they were really unique, they weren't as fun. They just weren't as fun to play through. Like, one that I think of in particular is like, you're in the cave with like the spinny copter Kremlins, and you're like, I think you're a Squawks, and it's like,
gosh!
It's just like, I see what you're doing, but it's not fun. You know what I mean?
I didn't mind
think the point is like, a lot of like the later end levels for me were more of a headache than like fun to get through. Like, it's just like, let me just struggle through this and see if I can figure out these dumb gimmicks.
Yeah.
But like the first couple worlds I thought are really nice. They have this really like very like clean aesthetic. It's very bright and sunny. And like it's very like, it feels like they're appealing more to kids, like very young kids, than any time before.
Except for that difficulty. Like,
and it's weird because like I think it's the most difficult game.
Yeah.
See, I think that DKC3 functions like a really nice level design tech demo. You know, like, it was basically like all the levels have something new and interesting to try out, and they all work, but they may not necessarily be fun, right?
Yeah.
So like, you play a level, you experience it, you adapt to the challenge, and that's what's satisfying about them. Like, you figure it out, and then you finish it, and it's awesome. But sometimes those mechanics, those like obstacles, aren't fun, and then you just walk away from it going like, eh. You know, that's the biggest problem I think DKC3 faces. I
do think the majority of that, like, I do think, like, overwhelmingly, I really like that game, and I think the majority of the levels I did like, but there are some, like, ones that I think had more apparent problems than any other Donkey Kong Country game.
When you get towards the end, especially.
Yeah, more so towards the end. But like, a lot of those, like, a lot of stuff in the third game stands out to me. I really like the water levels. Like, here's another thing I actually really like about. I know David Weiss did work on the soundtrack of 3, but a lot of the music was done by another composer, which I believe her name was Evelyn Fisher, although it used to be. I think she got married and then her name changed. I'm not exactly sure what it is now. But, like, a lot of the music in that game sticks out to me as really good, and, like, being as good as the rest of the series. I think I might even like a lot of the songs better than the first game. Like, the water world music in 3 is so eerie and creepy and depressing, and then like there's the troll music at the beginning that's all like really funny, and then there's the music that when you get chased, like their chase song is really good. The Hot Pursuit.
The chase song is really good.
The song that you get chased by bees, and then probably the most standout level in the game to me, my favorite level in Donkey Kong Country.
Is it the Saw Blade?
Is the Saw Blade, the Ripsaw Rage, when you're in a tree. And like, the music is so mysterious, like do 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 do, and you're like, what's going on? And then suddenly, this gigantic level, this screen-sized, TV-sized saw blade starts cutting up from underneath you, up the saw blade of up the tree, and you're like, oh my god! And you have to climb. Like, that for me was like my favorite level in the game.
That level is intense.
Because like the other games, it's like, oh, we got to outrun like water or lava. And in this one, it's like a giant saw blade is cutting up the tree, and like the music worked, and like the enemies were like really like stressful because they're like, okay, I gotta wait or else this guy's gonna throw a coconut for me. Go! And like you had to like, you couldn't jump on a platform right away if an enemy was like at the edge, you had to wait and like roll on. Or if you were like smart, you were like, okay, I could throw my partner at him and kill him right now, but if I mess up, then Kitty's gonna fall down and eat some saw blade. So I don't know, but like. I really like that level, and I really like a lot of the music in that game.
Yep.
That's legit.
I thought I would just add that I know we were all being very talking about the flaws because Donkey Kong Country 3 has flaws, but I do think like overwhelmingly I really did like that game. It's one of my favorite games on Super Nintendo, anyways. I really like the game too. I don't want to sound like I'm trashing it. It's one of the first games, if not the first game, I had a strategy guide for. And
really?
I went through it all, and I got all the secrets, and I beat it 100%, 103%, and so that it has a special place in my heart for that.
Get 105? Because you can 105% that game.
Mind blown.
Am I blowing your mind?
I didn't know that.
Oh, that game actually has a hard mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you have to enter what is it? You like enter a cheat code before you start a new game, and then it removes all the DK barrels and all the halfway point barrels from the levels, and the halfway point barrels are replaced with a DK barrel, and then so basically you have to try the level from the start each time, and you only get one DK barrel.
Why would you just do that?
Blew my mind.
I know, right?
I love it. I love the fact that they did that, though. They were like, okay, guy, who wants to...
That's amazing.
Who wants to go down as, like, the biggest, baddest gamer?
Yeah, one day I'm going to do it.
Oh, my gosh.
Because I'm, like, the Donkey Kong guy, and people won't let me forget about that. But, like,
That's
one day I'm
amazing.
going to do it, but right now I don't have the time or the patience. So
what I was going to say, though, is another positive that I did like about it. It has its faults, for sure, but another... And we touched on it earlier, is just the overworld. I think the overworld was, like, the perfect step in the next direction. You know,
Yeah,
and
I
it definitely
agree.
improved that in almost every way. And there was more secrets, more collectibles, the banana birds, the quest things to do. Unlocking the Lost World wasn't just paying to get in. It was like you had to go around the rocks, and there were like clues to that and things like that. So that's a major positive.
They really, like, I guess the map felt more like treasure huntish, I guess, in that sense. It was like, ooh.
It was the most interactive like world for sure. I think that's pretty special.
Because the first and
And,
second,
like, always
you're just walking to the
you're just
levels.
going. You're just walking up everything. Ain't no big deal.
Yeah.
And then,
and getting the upgrades from Funky,
Yeah.
like a better vehicle was okay, I guess.
I like that
It's
a lot. I like that a lot. It felt
Funky
like,
looks weird. He's not cool anymore.
No,
He's
I'm
like
not
some
saying-
greaser monkey.
I'm
Who
not-
likes greasers? Yeah.
That's true. The music, he always had good music, and then in the third game, it's like, what is this barbershop?
no, that song's groovy as all get out.
No!
That song is so groovy. It's so cool. Maybe it's just because I'm a bass player. It's got a crazy bass line.
Funky. He's
like it.
surfing in the air. You cannot beat that
Oh,
funky
that
with
music's
his greaser
annoying.
monkey. It's
That music's annoying. Like, no, it just doesn't.
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, man.
What
I
I did
love
like,
my
I meant was the vehicles. I really liked that you upgraded your vehicles. I liked that aspect of it. Because you collected them
Very
from
cool.
beating bosses, and it's another good game design principle, the come back later principle, totally, of you go and beat a thing, and then you come back and you can go further once you've done that.
how did you feel about your cameo in the snow level as the boss?
They designed it. Well, that's they consulted me, and I said you can use my likeness. Sure.
Did they ask you? They were like, "Do you want to be a real boss fight, or do you want to be like a snowball minigame?"
They said, "Do you want to be like the swanky bonus game?" And I was like, "That would be the best boss fight ever. Yes, please."
I will say that as much as people like give that boss above all the other bosses like crap because it's so not even like
Yeah.
it
So
builds
bad.
the only game like design that it builds off of is like the mini game before,
That
so it doesn't
nobody
like go
plays.
off of any of the platform. But like I do think that it goes off of like the way that you dodge his hits is kind of like reminiscent of like, there are levels where you have to dodge things falling from the ceiling, so the dodging kind of like builds off like that gameplay in a sense.
It's not
And-
super fun, but I like it because it incorporated the other part of the game. Like if you played the swanky game and you got really good at it, you'd be good at this boss fight.
Yeah, but I think that like it passes somewhat because like even like other boss fights have things that fall from the ceiling, or like especially in like Donkey Kong Country, like when the cannonballs fall. So this guy is a boss that like shoots cannonballs. So you kind of like I actually found challenge and I found fun with it, even though it doesn't really fit in with all the other Donkey Kong Country bosses. I will say that he creeped me out more than any other bosses when you kill him and he just laughs.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh god.
Boom! I was just like,
that was terrifying.
What even happened? What even did I do?
He was a machine. He wasn't a real snowman.
And I liked the minecart, the bobsled levels too in the snow world.
I love ice levels in gaming, and so I really liked K3, the world that was the ice world.
Yeah,
because I just have a soft spot for ice stuff.
The ice world.
Because I'm a snowman.
Sorry.
Okay. Are there any quick closing remarks? And we're gonna take a break.
Donkey Kong 2 is the best.
Series is groundbreaking and good.
Oh, it's all. I mean, obviously, just us talking about it shows that it has so much good about it, and there's the things that stuck with us, and we have a lot of good memories with it.
I really think that, like, even just looking at the series as a whole and then comparing it to, like, other platformers at the time, like, obviously, like, the first thing that Nintendo was trying to sell everyone was, like, oh, we have these 3D rendered graphics, and then in, like, Donkey Kong Country 2, they even had, like, one of the pirate ships, I think, even used, like, Mode 7, because the background of the pirate ship was 3D, like, the big wooden plank, depending if you were above or below. And, like, there was a lot of, like, it was really graphically impressive for the Super Nintendo, but, like, I really just appreciate how much they expanded on, like, other platformers with the level design, because they were like, you know what, we get, like, Mario and stuff, and we like that Mario has, like, secret exits, but we're going to have, like, a lot more multi-purpose levels. Our levels you're going to be able to explore, and, you know, our levels aren't just left to right. We have some vertical, and each one really, like, stands out as being a different gameplay experience that kind of, like, builds off of, like, more simplistic levels that you already play. And so, like, I just think as a platform, just like, it's really the gameplay that, like, solidifies for me, like, it as such a monumental, like, game series. Because, like, and it wasn't, I really appreciate that, like, it wasn't afraid to be, like, challenging. Because I think, like, like, even when I was a kid, like, and growing up, like, I think what I really appreciate is, like, how much more challenging of a game it is compared to, like, other, like, platformers. And, like, a lot of that challenge, again, is optional. Like, you didn't have to go through Donkey Kong Country 2 and beat the secret world, but, like, I appreciate, like, the layers of depth they gave the game.
Yep. Shall we... Jolly summed it up. Shall we take a break? Here, for the audience, we're going to have a part 2 here. And part 2, we're going to talk about beyond the SNES. And so come back for part 2 that'll come back near the end of Donkey Kong Month. And we're going to take just a short break, and then we'll see you then, and we're going to talk more about Donkey Kong, believe it or not. So get excited for that, and thank you, Perry, Jolly, and VZed for being on. Obviously, you'll be on again. So
looking forward to it.
You're welcome, son.
Right. So just take a still frame of Perry's face right now, and we'll leave it at that. And we'll see you guys on the next snoCast, where we will continue Donkey Kong talk. Thanks for listening, and we'll see ya.